And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Sunday, May 18th. Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Game 7. Myself, Josh Engelman. The guy below me, Greg Ehrenberg. We're breaking it down for the next half hour. We're live on Playback, playback.tv/Stokastic. If you want to watch the game after this, you can do it right there. But we got to break it all down right now. And we just got word Aaron Gordon will start today. What does that mean? We'll probably talk about that for most of this show. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. Greg, Aaron Gordon. Let's do this.
All right. So we've done poorly on these sickness, illness, whatever sort of injury situations where guys have been playing, Josh. I think this one's simple, though. I don't think we could fuck this up. I'm not playing Aaron Gordon today. If his hamstring is miraculously perfect and he goes out and scores a ton of fantasy points, I guess I lose today. But it's also so much different from some of these other scenarios because he's just priced as if he's totally fine, which we absolutely know is not the case. So I'm not going to be playing Aaron Gordon today. I talked to you a little bit at the top or before we started. So I know you're in the same boat as me. I think what's more interesting is figuring out what that means for some of the other players, because I just can't imagine that Aaron Gordon's going to have a ceiling game at an 8K price point in the flex spot.
No, I completely agree. If the report from Shams is correct, and this is truly a grade 2 hamstring strain, he's going to last about 4 minutes at best, and he's going to be gone. I don't care about Aaron Gordon at all. I don't think he sees anything resembling real minutes. I completely agree. The only discussion point is, who does this benefit? Obviously, $1,600 Peyton Watson is going to soak up some of this time. And then you start getting into any other idiot they think they can throw out there, which is not going to be great. But I could not care less about Aaron Gordon today. You're just not playing through this and being relevant. OKC is going to put him in every single thing they can put him in right out of the gate, get that guy moving left to right, and eventually that's just not going to go well. Do not play him in anything. If you want to bet his unders and you can find him somewhere, I think that's probably a decent idea because it seems like he's going to step onto the floor. But for DFS purposes, run away as fast as you can.
Yeah, I assume his props, I'll check right now. I'm almost positive his props are down at this point. I think there was a massive edge with this earlier in the postseason, like the Pajemski one, for instance, where books just left his normal props. And it was not just that you could bet the unders, it was you could parlay them together. And then you just had this situation where it's like, hey, I've got a 7-1, 8-1 prop on this guy just not playing his regular minutes or being limited. So I think books took notice of that, and they just realized that maybe there's overs you could bet for Aaron Gordon. I'm checking on FanDuel right now. I'd be very surprised if they're letting you bet his unders, unless they're posting it at like really low numbers. But let's see. Are there props for Aaron Gordon? The answer is no. They don't have anything posted for Aaron Gordon right now.
No. I have to imagine you see it the same way in terms of ownership. Pretty difficult to get away from Peyton Watson.
I'll have to rerun everything when we have Aaron Gordon back in our projections. It depends what you mean by like pretty tough to get away from. He's by far the best value option on the slate, like by a mile, but I don't think he's going to be in like 100% lineups. He's going to be my most rostered player. And then that's also going to make it super easy to get to Jokic on the high end.
Yeah. Jokic coming in at 13-8 on DraftKings, Shea at 12-2. The guy that you should all want today is the guy I have slightly highlighted on the screen right now. Get yourselves some Jalen Williams without the Y. That's what I'm telling you is going to be the one you need. Nuggets will start Murray, Brown, Porter, Gordon, and Jokic today. Fun stuff all around. I'm going to ask you this question because I ask you it all the time. This should be a pretty easy answer, I'm guessing. Who wins?
Yeah, so I am going to pick OKC to win. I think that's definitely the most likely outcome, but not a guaranteed outcome or anything like that. I think they're more likely to win, but same thing that I said going into the series, which is at any point in time, Jokic is capable of having a Jokic sort of game. I think he's far and away the best player in the league, and if Jokic is going to be hitting crazy fadeaway threes, chucking the ball over his head, hitting 3-quarter shots, putting up 40 point, 20 rebound games, then yeah, Denver could certainly pull an upset here. And then you're also in a scenario where you start to look at Jokic, just be like, look at what this guy's accomplished in his career. If he's able to knock off OKC, and then if they ride on and go to the championship here. But yeah, I have to pick OKC as 8.5 point favorites as the team far more likely to win the game.
We'll probably get this a lot, so let's just deal with it now. Howdy said, what if this is fake news? Just saying. If this is fake news, this will go down as the end of the NBA in terms of scandals because of the amount of money that can be bet now. If Aaron Gordon really did have a non-grade 2 hamstring strain and this was all fake, this would be the death sentence of the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, also, you'd have to, like, why are doctors committing fraud in this too?
This would be very bad for the NBA.
There's no way it's made up. It's not to say that, while it's extremely unlikely, there is a chance that Aaron Gordon could just somehow end up playing decently today. I think it's very unlikely. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a hamstring injury, though. He absolutely has a hamstring injury.
Yes, correct. So yeah, we got to deal with that for a bit. When it comes to OKC today, do you look at them any differently because of no Aaron Gordon?
Not any different than what like the betting markets are taking into account. Like I know you brought up before the show that it's a better situation for Jalen Williams, which I agree with, but not to the point where all of a sudden Jalen Williams, it's like, well, I thought Jalen Williams points prop should have been 20.5 and now it should be 28.5. Like it's not a massive move or anything like that. But it does benefit him more than the other players from OKC.
Oh, man. Well, chat's definitely going in on the conspiracy angle, so that should be fun. Hopefully the next 22 minutes end as fast as possible. Yeah, I don't see much different from OKC other than the fact that I just like Jalen Williams in this matchup. It's the Nuggets side that we probably have to have a discussion for. Peyton Watson is likely the first guy up in terms of soaking up the most minutes, but we did get a bit of a Julian Strawther fourth quarter last time out. Russell Westbrook is sitting there as a complete wild card in a Game 7 environment. He could play them into a dub or an L on his own if he wants to. And then the question becomes, do they do anything else with anybody else? Whether that's Zeke Naji, DeAndre Jordan, Pickett, Tyson. I doubt it. I don't know really if you can put any of those guys out on the floor right now and feel confident, but do you think they're messing around with any of those guys?
So I think what we're going to see is that Watson and Westbrook are both going to get opportunities to play extended minutes. And of the two of them, whichever one of them plays better is going to be the one. I'm assuming that Aaron Gordon is just going to get run off the court and isn't going to play all that well. But what's I think most likely to happen is that Gordon isn't able to close the game. And then it's going to be whoever plays better between Watson and Westbrook is the guy who ends up closing the game. It's kind of funny now. Everybody's out on Westbrook. We're 3 games removed from him being like 60% owned in contests. And that was with Gordon in, where we were assuming at one point that, hey, Russell Westbrook, he closed over Michael Porter Jr. now. That's the guy who I actually think might be getting slept on a little bit is Michael Porter Jr. is because we're trying to figure out who's going to be the guy who benefits from Aaron Gordon being limited. And we're looking at it more from a bench perspective, which I think totally makes sense. Michael Porter Jr. also, I know he's still only playing with one arm. This is just survival of the fittest, this point in the postseason for all of these teams. But Michael Porter Jr. is kind of the unspoken guy who I think could end up benefiting here. I think in the nature of the way you asked me the question, Westbrook and or Watson off the bench, but Michael Porter Jr. also somebody who could be benefiting in the starting lineup.
The other fun little note for all of this is that people think that this would be like to mess with OKC. I'm pretty sure that if Gordon can just play, they know what they're doing and they don't have to do anything other than their normal shit. And if Aaron Gordon can play, they don't have to game plan for Peyton Watson and Zeke Naji and the rest of these idiots. Like, there's no way to sneak this past OKC. It's either the same team they've just seen or they're worse.
Yeah,
I'm sure OKC is cool with it either way.
Yeah, there's zero advantage gained by just outright lying about the injury. It's not like Russell Westbrook comes in, they're just like, shit, like we aren't prepared for Russell Westbrook to brick threes from the wing. Like they'll be okay with that kind of scenario. He has a hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's oi. I'm a little surprised by some light ownership on like Isaiah Hartenstein today, Lou Dort today. I mean, we rarely see the sort of value that we're showing here where like multiple 1K guys pulling real ownership to the point where you're hot swapping between them, whether that's 1K Julian Strother projected for 20% ownership, $1,200 Aaron Wiggins projected for 25, $1,000 Jalen Williams with a Y being projected for 29, Peyton Watson, Cason Wallace, all these cheap dudes. How much salary is being left on the table today?
Yeah, I'm rerunning my lineups right now to account for the update where we now have Aaron Gordon back in the player pool. I'll be interested to see what it is in terms of like actual salary left on the table for some of my top lineups. But I do assume that I'm going to have lineups that leave a good amount of salary on the table. It's going to be incredibly easy to get up to Jokic and SGA in lineups. But that's why the mid-range kind of dies, because if you're playing the mid-range, you're foregoing the best points per dollar options on the slate, which are the cheap guys. And then that would also mean you're foregoing like SGA or Jokic, because you're not going to be able to play SGA and Jokic and then the mid-range guys. So the best builds, in my opinion, for this slate are very clearly stars and scrubs.
Yeah, I think that's really the only way that you can go here for it. Just got a message here. Gordon has some odds now. Jason is making some tweaks for those, but some betting information starting to come in for Aaron Gordon. So he's starting to make some adjustments on the back end for those. Nothing crazy. 6 points, 3 rebounds, something along those lines.
Not on FanDuel.
I'm going to run to the live odds screen on this nice little site called OddsShopper.com. Have you heard of it?
I have. I know that you could also check out Portfolio EV for free for 7 days when you sign up for the first time. But I want to see what books have lines up for Aaron Gordon. I'm very, very curious.
Same. All right. NBA player props, points. Gordon. We got 9.5 at Caesars. Don't think that one's real. 5.5 at BetMGM. 5.5 at Dabble. Sports Interaction. Still a book? Really? That's my first sports book.
Okay.
Signed up there. Sophomore year of high school. Me and Neil Flexer. Shout out Neil if you're watching, brother. He and I probably sent $20 a piece. Multi-accounting at 15 years old or whatever it was. 2001.
Well, I'll tell you that for the people in chat who think the Aaron Gordon injury is fake, generational wealth opportunity on Aaron Gordon over 5.5 points, and and his peripheral props also extremely low.
My guess is these people are going to stay generationally poor by the end of this.
We'll see. Maybe they're right though.
Maybe. Kirk serious. Gordon starting is rad. I bet he plays like 45 seconds. So true. That's really that's the most interesting part of this to me. The betting angle when he goes in there and like gets put in one like pick and roll, immediately calling for it, and everybody loses their minds, because there is going to be a meltdown when he gets taken off the floor on the first rotation.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of this too is because I wanted to see if there are alt lines on those books, but they're not listing alt lines. So, because that was when I was going to say, like, if you really think Aaron Gordon's healthy, if his points prop is 5.5, 15 points must be like 15 to 1 or 20 to 1, but they're not posting those either.
Yeah. At that point, your edge is like the national debt counter. It's just spending as fast as it possibly can. All right, let's take a look at the FanDuel side. Because obviously that's a very different dynamic. Not as different as it used to be, but different nonetheless. Jokic coming in at 17-2, SGA at 14K. But the value options on FanDuel is a very different conversation, because it's not the same in terms of being at the bottom. One, the salary cap is bigger, but like Peyton Watson is $1,600 on FanDuel, 19% owned compared to 50 or whatever it is on DraftKings. You're barely seeing ownership to Aaron Wiggins, to Jalen Williams, to Cason Wallace and Watson. Like those guys are still under 20. What do you want to look at differently here on FanDuel, or is there a way to look at this differently? Do you want to get to some of those low-owned, low-dollar guys here? Because now it is actually a path to being unique, not necessarily just value like it is on DraftKings.
Yeah, so Peyton Watson still looks good on FanDuel to me. I think he's a little bit underrepresented. But then the other part of this too, which does make FanDuel a little bit different than DraftKings, you get crazy low price points on some of these other guys. Like Lou Dort is almost min price on FanDuel. Russell Westbrook, Michael Porter Jr., they are also very, very inexpensive over on FanDuel. So while if I'm picking one of those cheap guys, Peyton Watson's the one who makes the most sense. There isn't as much of a need to go to those guys over on the FanDuel side of things, just because the guys who actually are normally relevant are also way underpriced on FanDuel.
Very different dynamic here. Aaron Gordon, 2.6% owned on FanDuel last run, 7K.
He'll be more popular than that too. There's going to be people.
You would think.
Yeah, there's going to be people who just want to, well, for a couple reasons. First, there's going to be people who don't know about the news. There's other people who think the news is fake. And that in itself is going to be enough for, he's not going to be crazy popular, but I would assume probably like 5 to 8% owned or something.
I would have said 5 to 10. So yeah, I think we're in the same boat there. Do you think, I almost said Mike Malone. Sons of bitches, forgot they fired him.
Adelman.
Yeah. Do you think my doppelganger, he and I both sharing the sizable upper tooth gap. So my brother from a different mother. Do you think he's doing anything weird today, or do you even think he has carte blanche to make those choices?
I mean, I think he does. I could see this being, I think it's going to be somewhat like a Steve Kerr sort of situation, not to the same extreme where everybody plays, but I think it's going to be similar in terms of he's going to give guys Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, maybe Julian Strawther. They're going to get chances to play. Whoever plays best is going to be who earns more playing time. That's how I think it's going to go. Like the same way that Steve Kerr approached the Warriors rotations this year. Guys are going to get opportunities. Whoever's best, there you go. You get extra minutes.
Thanks for that one, Sean. If it's competitive, Nikola Jokic plays over under 46 minutes.
I'll take the under just because it's such a high number. But I would be shocked if Jokic plays less than like 40. I'd say like 40, 42 is probably like the fair guess I have for where I think his minutes will be.
Without foul trouble, I think he only comes off the floor for a brief moment in the second quarter. If it's in any way close heading into the second half and he's not in any foul trouble, he will play all 24 minutes of that second half.
I could see him giving
assuming
like
Aaron Gordon is also as dead as I think he is.
Yeah, I could see them giving him a quick breather. He's gonna play a ton. He's gonna play.
If they ever have a situation where like they know they're about to steal a TV timeout and grab like an extra 2, he'll pop for like 20 seconds here or there when they know that's coming. But otherwise, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. Should we be having a bigger conversation about Jamal Murray here today? Is he really like the pseudo linchpin of this team now? Does he have to go crazy to keep him in it?
He doesn't. Jokic does. Jamal Murray doesn't. Like there's a scenario where Jokic just has a ceiling Jokic game, and then Denver's live regardless of what anybody else does in the game. But there's certainly going to be more minutes going to Jamal Murray. Presumably, I know he played well with the illness last game, but there was times where you could visually see he was struggling, but he gutted it out and played a really, really terrific game last time out. But I think he's going to be healthier today. I assume the illness is not going to be an issue. It was an issue for his production last game. It was an issue in terms of like how he felt personally.
It was an issue to us.
Yeah, it was. It was. I won the mini max that day at least, so it wasn't the end of the world either.
That's the most that type of shit right there is like the epitome of DFS, because we spend a half hour or an hour, I don't remember if it was Showdown or not, talking about how we don't want to do that at all. And then he goes out there for 2.5 hours. Like, I'm getting DMs and messages telling us that we're all stupid for it. And then you ship it anyway. You post that and everybody, like, none the wiser. Nobody cares anymore. Even though we got it 100% wrong. No one cares.
It was also because it was a stupid mini max, and it was like splitting with a bunch of people. It was like $173, which I wouldn't post that. But yeah. Or by the way, our data just got updated per Jason, so I'm going to run one more sim.
All right, let me see what we've got on this. I've got it up on the screen right now. Last ownership projections were updated 4 minutes ago. 91% ownership coming in right now to Nikola Jokic, 73 to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then your third most owned guy is Peyton Watson at 48.5. I do kind of feel like Jamal Murray comes in a bit ahead of him just from like the naturalness of wanting to click on Jamal Murray's name if you're hand building on your phone, but Peyton Watson is going to have so much ownership. It's really crazy to me to see Cason Wallace be 37% owned at 2K. Not that he's not a part of this, but he is just a guy that plays for Oklahoma City. He can play 0 minutes. Like, I don't think this is happening, but he can play 0 minutes today, and they could backfill that with completely reasonable basketball players, and you'd be none the wiser. His ownership is really wild to me. Seeing the Denver guys get some, that makes sense, but like, a lot of Cason Wallace for this matchup.
It's a lot of Cason Wallace. It's also, I think, one of the easier ways, while also more risky ways to get different, is to get a little bit off of Peyton Watson. Like, my last run of Sims, I had 45% of him, which is a lot, except he was projected for over 60% ownership. So I was underweight to the field as a result of that. Although it does look like his ownership is lower now. So let me see what happens when I rerun everything, because I'm pretty sure he was at my last contest poll I ran. He was in over 60% of the field's lineups, and now he's at 45%. So that'll probably change things a little bit.
Jokic, 41 minutes today. If he plays 41 minutes today, they probably lose.
Yeah, we got him for 41.5. Got Jamal Murray for 42. The part that I'm really, really interested to see that we haven't talked about yet, are the OKC guys finally going to play full minutes? Because they've been running this kind of like a regular season rotation so far.
You have to assume that we're getting 40 plus out of Shai and Jalen Williams. After that, I think all bets are off. But I think those two guys are probably out there for in and around 40. I would expect Shai to want to be, that's for sure. But after that, you can just, it's so easy to move those guys around. Like, oh, is the too big? Not like, maybe we don't need the two bigs. Now it's Caruso getting an extra couple minutes, and then it's Isaiah Hartenstein getting a little bit less. I think that could all move around a lot. But I mean, if you're not playing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, if you have the ability to play Shai more than 40 minutes today and you don't, that would be very weird to me.
I agree. Also, one thing I did to differentiate my lineups a little bit here is I took some minutes away from, not that we have Aaron Gordon project for 16 minutes. I took some minutes away from Aaron Gordon. I gave them to Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, and like, I would agree with you, but I also think that that is the correct spot for him, given the fact that he's got a betting market and people are hitting it. Like, that is the fastest way that we can sort of normalize this information. If he plays 16 minutes, that will be very interesting to me, because I think that's going to be a very bad 16 minutes.
That's why I wanted to make the adjustments also. So of the guys I just talked about, right? So like Peyton Watson, now that his ownership has come down, I'm more in line with the field, with him project for 47% ownership in the flex spot. My two favorite contrarian plays for GPPs, Russell Westbrook is 21% owned. Michael Porter Jr. is 15% owned. Those are the guys I want to be overweight to. That was why I gave them extra minutes and took them away from Gordon.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know what the angle here is today. OKC confuses the shit out of me, and I don't trust Denver to be any good. I think it's like the oddball OKC guys. Maybe DraftKings knew something that we didn't, and that's why they priced up Dylan Carlson.
Yeah, I got questions about that. People are like, why is this the price point of Dylan Carlson? I was like, just for no reason. Just ignore it. The algorithm just did something, and that was what they put their prices at. And it's not even, by the way, it's not even that I'm like super confident that Michael Porter Jr. and or Westbrook have big games. It's just who has the most opportunity for the lowest ownership today. And the field is not playing either of these guys when they've both individually been mega popular within the last week. And now they're in a better situation they've been at any other point because of Aaron Gordon being hurt. But just because they haven't played well recently, people are totally off of Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr. There's not a single person in chat who hasn't prioritized playing Westbrook or Michael Porter Jr. over the course of the last couple of weeks.
I mean, can you imagine if like Russ has a triple double and they win today, what the discourse ends up being for that?
Yeah, I don't think that'll be the case. I wouldn't mind it because I bet Westbrook for over 3.5 assists, which also like the prop market's also not crazy high on Russell Westbrook. I think it's a little bit of I think it's a little bit of a gap in terms, like I brought this up all throughout the postseason. There's such a reaction to however guys have played recently. If they play well, the props go way up next game. If they play poorly, the props go way down from the next game. And there just isn't that much variance as much as it's priced in. But yeah, I think those are contrarian options that are interesting. Westbrook and Porter.
Oh, Russell Westbrook. What are you going to be today?
Probably terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that makes the most sense, right? I was going to try to put together some sort of janky Russell Westbrook triple-double prop. But and let me just get that out of the way for anybody that doesn't understand this. This game has absolutely nothing to do with the league MVP award. It is already done. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. Nothing matters for the league MVP in this game.
Oh, here's something... we got a super chat.
We got to hit this one quickly. Yeah, let's hit the super chat. Jokic or SGA at captain and MVP?
Jokic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm disappointed in. And maybe they're doing this and I don't even know. The MVP award should be given out like it's American Idol right before this game. They should have Jokic and SGA stand at center court. They announce who the winner is, and then they go play with that being like the theatrics leading up to it. That would be sick. They're not going to do that. But that would be awesome.
Well, it's going to be real bad when Jokic somehow has 40, 20, and 20 today, wins the series, and then they give it to Shea in 2 days.
Well, that's why just because there's a chance of OKC losing, they should give it to him today so they do it before a game. Yeah. But I think that would make for such good theater and build so much more excitement for the game if they had SGA accept his award right before the game.
What they really should do is have done this shit a month ago, and it's insane that they didn't. Why would you ever put yourself in a situation to make this look worse? Dum-dums. It's a regular season award. Give that shit out in April. I don't get it. All right. Yeah, how long does Aaron Gordon last? What is your prediction for Aaron Gordon's minutes today?
My best guess. Lock. I think he plays. I understand that based on what the prop market is, this is not what the books are expecting. My expectation is if his hamstring is just, I expect his hamstring to give him issues. I think he plays one rotation. It goes poorly. He checks out and doesn't come back in.
Yeah. 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah. Which is why I took minutes away from him and gave him to Westbrook and Porter.
Well, here we are. We are 7 seconds for lock, which means playback.tv/Stokastic. Greg had been sharing the portfolio EV tool for the past half hour, but now that we are locked, that is not what's getting shared. Game 7, Oklahoma City and Denver, live on playback. You want to subscribe? You can see that game right now if you want. And if you send an email to Stokastic or support@stokastic.com or a DM to Greg on Twitter, you get a 50% off single sport promo code at Stokastic if you sign up at playback to watch that game. Greg, you popping into playback at all today?
No, I am going to be watching golf. I'll be watching. I got a lot of things I want to watch. I'm going to be watching golf, basketball, and then I'll also be watching the hockey game later.
Is that why you have the polo on? Because you're going to watch golf?
No, because I was playing golf right before this.
That'll do it. Okay. Guys, I will be popping into playback periodically if the game is competitive. And if it is actually competitive in the second half, I will be there. I stuck around in chat for the first half of Boston and the Knicks. And I was like, all right, I'll come back at the end of the third if I haven't eaten. No, I didn't get a chance to do that. That sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be post. I usually just throw some comments into chat, so I'll still be doing that. Yeah, maybe if my golf lineups are dead later in the afternoon, I don't think they're going to be because I have a bunch of good ones. But if I have like nothing to watch golf for later in the afternoon and the basketball game is close, then yeah. I might pop in for the second half of the basketball game.
I got nowhere else to be. I'm going to be in playback watching that game in the second half if that one is even remotely competitive. So I'm hanging out here. I just watched some traumatic stuff in Last of Us Part 2 video game style. So no spoilers for any of you guys, but it was a tough scene. I was crying at my desk 45 minutes ago before we started this show. Ready to get out of here?
That reminds me, there's a really funny meme that I wanted to send you. I'll see if I could find it again to send it to you. It's related to Last of Us.
Okay. I was going to say, is it a picture of me crying 10 minutes ago? Because it happened.
No, it was a picture of the whatever her name is in the show saying that
Ellie.
She was going... Yeah, saying that she was going to be a dad. And then underneath, there was a picture of a woman pregnant with a potato.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a line in the show that is not great.
Let me see if I can find the meme.
I've seen a few based on that line. So.
No, I can't find it. Whatever, guys. Enjoy the game. Peace.
Go Thunder.